Recreation Inspiration is a collaboration with the hosts 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, Crafty Art Shack, and Lowly D's Creation. These women are so nice, helpful, sweet, and awesome creative crafters. They love seeing everyone succeed in their YouTube journey. Check out their channels and subscribe, like, save, and comment. The link to their channels is listed in the description box below. There are other great collaborators in the playlist, and you will not want to miss. The link to the playlist is in the description box below, so sit back and enjoy. I prefer using cloth napkins at dinner, but instead of buying cheap napkin rings, I decided to DIY napkin rings using upcycled tin cans and molds. I got the idea from Josie Zillow and Sally Griswold at Iron Orchard Designs. They have some fantastic ideas and the molds to match. I had the IOD air-dried clay, but not the IOD mold. I had some maybe cake molds or some off-brand molds. I don't know, but they worked okay. Today, I am going to make a tin can napkin rings for a farmhouse look. I was always creative and would turn trash into treasures every chance I could get. So let's see what I can do making tomato puree cans into unique napkin rings. The supplies needed include 6-ounce recycled tomato paste cans. I did 4 of them, but you can do more if you like. A can opener, white chalk paint, a mold of your choice, Mod Podge, IOD air-dried clay, a soft paintbrush, wood glue or reptile adhesive, and glue gun. To prepare the cans, it is necessary to remove the labels, glue, and make sure the cans are open on the top and the bottom. I had to use glue gun because where the papers joined together, there was some heavy-duty glue. It is important to make sure also there's no rough edges to prevent injury to yourself or it snag your napkin. So light sanding may be necessary, but can opener did a good job, so I did not have to do any sanding. Reshape the cans so they're in an oval form by lightly rolling them on your surface. And this will also prevent them from rolling off the area that you are working, so they don't roll on the floor, especially after you paint. Next, determine how much clay is necessary to put in your mold. Now, I had to warm the clay in my hands until it was pliable, and then I pushed the clay into the mold cavity, and then I just removed the excess clay and a little bit in the middle of the mold. You can turn the mold over and release the casting without pulling it, because you don't want to mess up your design. And decide where you want to lay the mold on the can. Now you can rough up the metal to give it a grabbing surface. However, I didn't do that. I laid the mold in the center of the can, and actually I used wood glue to adhere it. The design was gently pressed down and making sure the edges were adhered well also. If extra glue is noted on the sides, because sometimes you put a little bit too much and it may seep out on the sides, you can wipe it away with a brush or your finger or a piece of paper. It is okay to paint when the clay is not fully dry. However, it is a good idea to let the air-dried clay harden for 24 hours prior to painting, but it is not 100% necessary. This way, the details may be more pronounced when you paint. I use chalk paint and allow it to dry before adding another coat. If any areas needed to be touched up, that can easily be done the following day after you see what you're dealing with. So make sure that the napkin holders are in an upright position while they are drying, and then you can seal them the following day with Mod Podge. This is a nice farmhouse look, but you can also use this idea for other things such as pencil or plant holders. So let me know what you think about this easy, classy farmhouse look. And thank you, Josie, Celio, and Sally Griswold at Iron Orchards Design. I probably need to invest in some of the molds. DIY number 2, jute chargers or placemats. The supplies needed include 3/4 inch rope, so you need 112 feet to make 4 chargers, some hot glue and glue sticks, and it's a good idea to have the longer glue sticks so that you don't have to keep feeding your hot glue gun, scissors, and a charger template. The chargers I saw were from Kimberly. A wonderful thought was what I needed for my modern farmhouse recreation inspiration. I purchased my rope from Amazon just as Kimberly suggested. Now after making them, I'm glad I went with a 3/8 inch rope instead of something smaller. Her chargers turned out great, and so did mine. Make sure you check her out in her blog/channel. I needed something to glue the rope onto and wanted to avoid it sticking to something that I would have to peel off. So I used vinyl to lay the jute on while I was working on it. To get the charger size correct, I had a plastic charger from Dollar Tree that I use as my template. If you don't have one, you can use a pizza cardboard and use that as your template. I figured vinyl would work as a space to begin the process. However, I did not use the fabric to put underneath the charger. To prevent unraveling, I hot glued the beginning strands together and formed the rope into a spiral, and I hot glued as I went along. In order for the glue to disappear and not show on top of the charger, I glued along the bottom edges of the rope to adhere with the previous strand. And then I just firmly pressed the new rope into the hot glue before it dried. I used about 4 long glue sticks per charger. I just left the rope on the spool as I went along, and I made the 4 chargers using about 30 feet for each one. I wanted the end of the rope to look nice and clean, so I decided to cut it and glue the ragged edges and kind of tuck it in under a few strands as best as I could. This way it would not look too much of an ending definition where they say, oh, absolutely, she ended there. I didn't want that. I mean, you're going to have a little, but you try to do the best you can. My scissors were a little dull, so make sure you use some sharp scissors. And the other issue that I experienced was the chargers. Sometimes, some of them, not all of them, had a tendency to curve upward. And what I did to combat that problem, I just put something heavy on top, like books, and it laid flat. It is going to look so nice for my modern farmhouse tablescape Tuesdays, April the 11th. Thanks, Kimberly, for the inspiration for this project. DIY number 3, modern farmhouse coasters. It is challenging to find ways to make modern farmhouse coasters. I thought of some ways to make it work for my tablescape. I finally decided on terracotta saucers as the coasters. This creation was made by Mimi's Mixed Bag. She has a channel that is filled with various types of DIYs, so stop by and check out her channel. The supplies needed include 4 4-inch terracotta saucers, Mod Podge, white acrylic paint, scrapbook paper, or you can use napkins, scissors or a punch, and a paintbrush. These terracotta coasters are porous, so they will absorb a lot of paint. Therefore, you will need more than 1 coat of acrylic paint. Also, you will need to trace a circle onto the scrapbook paper napkin that will fit around the bottom. So what I did is I put the end of my glass on the scrapbook paper, made a circle around it, and then cut the circle out. I did not Mod Podge the round circle of scrapbook paper onto my coasters because I want to maybe use it later for a different look. So you can adhere the papers or you can just leave them there, and when you're all done with that dinner, you can take those away and for your next dinner, put maybe another one. My last DIY is napkin peat pots. The supplies needed include 4 medium-sized peat pots, napkins, Mod Podge, and white acrylic paint. I saw this on the Provincial Farmhouse. Erin is a super crafter. She made Easter pots using napkins. Her channel is so nice, and I invite you to check out all her super DIYs. The first thing you want to do is to paint the pots with white acrylic chalk paint from top to bottom. However, I did not paint the inside. When your peat pot is dry, you can apply part of the napkin that you want for your pot. I chose a napkin that had bird nests on them for spring. Then I applied a small amount of Mod Podge to the outside of the peat pot, and I adhered the napkin to the front and the back of the pot, because if you're sitting on one side of the table, I want the people sitting on the opposite side of the table to see the same decal. After it was dry, I put real flowered plants inside and displayed on a wooden slab that I made. You will see it on my Tablescape Tuesdays on April the 11th. It is a must-see. Well, that is all Z9 Designs family. I am so glad you stopped by to see what I've made. I am almost at 900, thanks to your support. So be sure to subscribe, like, save, and comment so you can be entered into the drawing when I get to 900. Also, check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And remember, true love bears all, endures all, and triumphs. This is by Dada Vaswana. See you later. Bye-bye.